room. But welcome everybody to this AquaHacking Binational 2026 info session, co-hosted by the Ontario Water Consortium and AquaAction. My name is Robert Nyman. I am the Manager of Partnerships and Programs at the Ontario Water Consortium. The Ontario Water Consortium is Ontario's only sector support organization dedicated solely to water innovation. We bring together researchers, companies, municipalities, and governments to drive collaborative R&D, pilot testing, and real-world technology adoption. We help bridge the gap between research and market-ready innovation. And while there are many innovation organizations across Canada, none are focused specifically and exclusively on water like OWC is. OWC's collaborative model delivers measurable results. Over the past decade, we've helped mobilize over $90 million in project funding, supported or created more than 350 industry jobs, and advanced nearly 80 water technology projects. We've partnered with more than 100 academic researchers and helped build infrastructure, including wastewater test beds in London and Guelph. We do this by connecting innovators with adopters and aligning the right funding, partnerships, and support to move solutions forward. Before introducing today's session, we also hope you'll join us for our upcoming Innovation Showcase Winter Webinar Series, starting tomorrow. On February 12th, researchers from the University of Waterloo's Arlos Research Group will present advanced approaches to understanding and mitigating trace organic chemical contamination in water, including exposure assessment, sustainable treatment strategies, pesticide fate modeling, and stormwater impact analysis. On February 17th, we will hear from the University of Guelph's Morwick G360 Groundwater Research Institute, showcasing new research and practical tools for characterizing and monitoring fractured bedrock aquifers to support source water protection and sustainable subsurface energy development. And then finally, on February 26th, Toronto Metropolitan University will present plant-wide modeling approaches for wastewater treatment plants, highlighting diagnostics tools for managing fugitive methane emissions. I'll drop the registration link in the chat in just a moment. All sessions are free to join. Please also note the QR code that you can use to subscribe to our OWC newsletter. Now I'm pleased to introduce Kenza.vandenbroeck, coordinator of the AquaHacking program at AquaAction, who will lead today's information session entitled Join a Once-in-a-Lifetime Water Tech Leadership Program, AquaHacking Binational 2026. Kenza will provide an overview of the AquaHacking Binational program, outline what participants can expect over the 7-month journey, highlight the skills, networks, mentorship, and funding opportunities available to support the development of impactful water innovation startups. She will also speak to how this program empowers emerging leaders from across the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence region to translate bold ideas into practical, scalable solutions for shared freshwater challenges. Kenza, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Robert, and thank you for co-hosting this info session with us and helping us get 26 people in the room today. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, I'm going to share my screen and get started on my little presentation. Make sure my sound is turned on. And here we go. All right. So yeah, welcome to the AquaHacking Binational Challenge info session. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about AquaAction and our different programming, as well as AquaHacking more specifically. Here's just a little bit about our agenda today. So we'll cover some information about AquaHacking, the water issues of this specific challenge, the timeline, the solutions we're looking for, the registration process, the kind of participant profile that we're looking for, some of the prizes and benefits, and some support for recruitment. I also will have one of our alumni in the session at around 12:30 to give a little bit of a testimonial. And as Robert mentioned, my name is Kenza.vandenbroeck. I'm the AquaHacking Program Coordinator at AquaAction. And AquaAction's mission overall is to build a water-secure future, and we do this by encouraging young people to transform their skills into hope and action. We activate technologies to have a positive water impact in many of the most promising and prominent sectors. We provide the necessary support and tools to transform solutions into into sustainable solutions that have environmental health and economic impacts. And we really do this through our different programming. We've been around for 10 years officially. And in 2025, we just had our 10-year anniversary. And we have 4 programs. We have an education and awareness program, which really serves to inspire K-12 students to launch careers in the water sector. It's currently in the oven still. It's being developed, but we just are launching it this year. Very exciting. And then we have AquaHacking, which is our flagship program. It's been around for 10 years. It precedes AquaAction more broadly. And the goal is ideation. We engage innovators, we provide personalized coaching and mentoring, and we launch sustainable startups through the framework of a competition. And we also have a program called Aqua Entrepreneur, which is focused on growth and commercialization. So we really accelerate emerging startups through commercialization, expansion into new markets, and the acquisition of pilots and contracts. And our final program is Aqua Nation, which really regroups alumni from all of our different programming and helps various startups at different stages of their life reach maturity. And we really call it our community. It's a community of changemakers, and we provide a lot of resources to all of our different startups in our portfolio through the AquaNation program. And so AquaHacking broadly is a free, award-winning 7-month innovation entrepreneurship competition. We recently won the Clean 50 award in 2020 for 2026. We offer intensive mentorship to bright innovators from diverse backgrounds, and these innovators really come to the program with groundbreaking ideas to develop real-world tech solutions to some of the most pressing freshwater-related issues. As I mentioned, we've been around for 10 years. We just completed our 15th edition last week with the AquaHacking Prairies program. We've had over 3,000 participants in the last 10 years. We've launched 120 startups, and we have awarded over $1 million in seed funding. And you can see some of our logos on the right there of some of our successful startups that have emerged from AquaHacking. And I have this little teaser video just to give you the vibe of the binational that's coming up. All right, very fun. So presenting the AquaHacking 2026 Binational Challenge. It's a Great Lakes and St. Lawrence focused challenge. We're hosted by AquaAction, the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers, and the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative. And why the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence region? Well, the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence River waters sustain 110 million people with a regional economy valued at 9.3 trillion US dollars. If it were its own country, it would be the third largest economy in the world and contains 21% of our global freshwater supply. So it's really crucial that we protect this region and that we invest in it economically and allow residents of this region to contribute through entrepreneurship, innovation, and bringing their brilliant ideas to life through water tech startups. So the Binational is our 16th edition. It's our largest. It's the most ambitious one yet. It's a binational focus, USA and Canada, and the focus is on the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River. Our objective is to have 1,000 participants across this region. I should mention also, if you have any questions, please use the chat. Just write them in the chat so that we don't forget them. And then there is a Q&A portion at the end of this presentation, and we can have a bit of a discussion about your questions that way. So every AquaHacking challenge has a set of selected water issues. And in this case, we have 4. We have the water access and community resilience issue, Great Lakes and circular blue economy issue, efficient industry and energy, and water quality and ecosystem health. And each water issue is selected kind of strategically based on our relationship with our co-hosts and the needs that have been identified through our conversations with different stakeholders in the region, various organizations, and some of our partners. And this was sort of these were the water issues that emerged from those conversations. We do have subcategories to kind of narrow down these water issues because, as you can tell, they're very broad, and that's intentional. We really want a diversity of solutions. We don't want to turn any solution away. And, if we don't narrow the solution down too much, then we don't end up with some of the same solutions to some of the same problems. So this is a way for us to capture as many ideas as we can. Some of those subcategories for water access and community resilience, for example, include bridging the water access gap in underserved communities, resilient municipal infrastructure, for example, stormwater systems, flood management, and climate adaptation. In the efficient industry and energy water issue, we're looking for water efficient cooling solutions for data centers, especially now with the rise of AI. AI is in everything, and we recognize that the train has left the station, and yet it has a huge impact on water. So we really are looking for brilliant ideas to kind of help us manage that infrastructural capacity and sustainability aspect of data centers. Hybrid energy solutions with water saving components, and water smart agricultural practices, including irrigation efficiency, soil moisture tech, drought resistant crop cultivation, for example. In the circular blue economy water issue, we are looking for different ways of reusing, recycling, recovering value from wastewater streams, maximizing the value from Great Lakes fisheries, so 100% fish utilization, and turning invasive and underutilized species into economic opportunities. So example, carp, bycatch for protein, biochar, fertilizer, and just in general, like maybe using algae blooms for fertilizers. And then in water quality and ecosystem health, reducing microplastics is a big topic of conversation, stormwater capture and green infrastructure to reduce urban and agricultural runoff, and data and monitoring tools, including real-time sensors, AI, citizen science platforms. And even though the water issues are really broad, the goal of this is to also engage mentors, which we call water issue leaders, who represent each water issue. So for each water issue, we have 2 to 3 water issue leaders or mentors, and their role is to explain and contextualize the issue and its impact on communities, ecosystems, and the regional economy. They present the solutions that currently exist on the market and highlight their limitations. Maybe they highlight opportunities for innovation within those solutions. And they really help guide the participants towards effective problem solving and the development of scalable and sustainable solutions. And they do that primarily through mentorship. So in the beginning phase of the program, they create a webinar, and the webinar will highlight some of those opportunities for innovation and identify some of the issues with the current solutions on the market, and also give you more context about the water issue more broadly. And then you have one-on-one meetings with them. So participants meet with the water issue leaders as a team. They can ask them questions, they can brainstorm with them, and that's really their role. So they help you pick a water issue, and they help you narrow down your solution as well. So just to give you a sense of the scope of the program, as I mentioned, it's 7 months long. We recently just opened our registration last week, so it's officially open. We are now in the promotion and recruitment phase, which is open for 2 months. So I'm going to be hosting a number of info sessions during this time, as well as team building sessions to help participants find teams. And on April 6th is the official start of the program, and that's when teams and participants have access to our online curriculum. So there is a curriculum that takes about 40 hours to complete. It's maybe 1 to 3 hours max per week. There's a lot of sort of information about water issues more broadly, but also tech and innovation and in entrepreneurship mindset. There's a workshop in design thinking. There's a lot of opportunities to engage with other participants in the program, as well as the mentors and us, the AquaHacking team. And we host a couple of online kind of sessions during the phase 1 of the program. One of them is an Ask Me Anything session with the water issue leaders, sort of a Q&A style so that people can get more clarity on the water issues. And we host, as I mentioned, design thinking workshop and a welcome session as well, so that we can help people doing some team building as well. So that's phase 1. It lasts about 3 months. And the goal of phase 1 is really to prepare participants for the semifinal, which is in July. And the semifinal is fully online. So until this point, the whole program is virtual. There's no in-person components. It's mostly asynchronous. So you can log on and work on your project when you have time, which is why we often recruit students and young professionals. So you can have a job, you can be studying, and you can be working on your aquahacking project as well at the same time. And so on July 11th, we'll have an online, virtual, but live event where we announce the selection of the 20 finalist teams. The week prior is when participants will submit their virtual pitch, and it's a video. It's 5 minutes long, and we have a panel of judges that will make the selection of the 20 finalist teams. So that's July 11th. Once we're in phase 2 of the program, which is when we have our 20 finalist teams, that's when there is personalized coaching and business development mentorship, and we really provide a lot of resources in entrepreneurship and launching a startup more broadly. And something that's very exciting that I think makes this program really unique is what we call the expedition. It's a leadership retreat where we take the finalists of the program in person, so they travel, and this time it's going to be in Canada, likely in Quebec. And we spend a whole weekend together. We have a bunch of different workshops. They do business skill development. They meet with the mentors. We bring the water issue leaders. We bring their coach, and we bring some of our team members from different programs to give them insight into where their startup can go. And they really deepen those relationships with their team, with other teams, and we kind of break down the barriers of the competition format. It's a very exciting and rewarding event, so it's a huge highlight of the program, I think. And then they will prepare for the grand finale event, which will be November 5th, 2026. And this is a hybrid event, so we live stream the whole thing for the online audience and those who can't travel to the event. But the event itself is an in-person pitch competition, kind of Dragon's Den style, with a panel of judges, a live audience. There's food, there's a cocktail celebration, an awards ceremony. It's a very dynamic, exciting event. And this year it's going to be in Detroit, Michigan. And following the finale, we have incubation and various accompaniments through AquaNation and our different programming. And there's an AquaHacking Blue Economy certification. And throughout the timeline, there's really a lot of support offered. We really accompany the teams quite closely. As I mentioned, there's coaching, there's a lot of personalized mentorship. In the beginning, we help with some of the promotional support. So that's specifically for people who want to help us recruit. We'll provide promotional toolkits and info sessions like this one. And then we have team building support. So as I mentioned earlier, later this month on February 25th, we'll do a team building session. So if anybody who's in this call right now wants to register, they can join this team building session on the 25th and maybe form a team that way. But we'll have another session in March, and then we'll also do a bit of team building support in the beginning of the program. And as I mentioned, the curriculum is about 40 hours of material. There's mentorship and workshops combined around 40 hours and guidance from our team. Then when the finalist teams are selected, we give them $1,000 bursaries to help continue to develop their projects. And this could really go to any costs associated with the development of their solution. You know, they might have to rent a lab, or they might have to buy some equipment or do some 3D printing or some modeling. So that's there to support the finalist teams. And for the expedition and the finale, all of the costs for travel, accommodation, and food are covered. So there's really nothing to lose with joining this program. It's very inclusive. It's very supported, and you don't have to pay for anything. It's free. As I mentioned, the expedition is a really great opportunity, a really great experience. And this is just a little recap video from the Great Lakes 2024 expedition. So I'll play that for you. Okay, I hope that gave you a sense of what the expedition looks like. So just to talk a little bit about some of the solutions and projects that we're looking for, we are looking for innovative solutions. We accept nature-based solutions, tech and biotech solutions, hardware, software, AI, and machine learning. And those solutions are selected, the finalist teams are selected based on the following judging criteria: the impact of the solution, the technical feasibility and functionality, the level of innovation and uniqueness, and the business potential, so the scalability and sustainability of the solution. And there's a little bit of the pitch 5%, which is allocated to the quality of the pitch and the professionalism of the presentation. A bit about our registration process. Before you register, you don't need an idea or a solution, and you don't need a team, and you don't need entrepreneurial skills or knowledge, because once you are registered, you are supported with choosing a water issue, forming a team, developing some of those entrepreneurial skills. And, with a team, with an interdisciplinary team that complements different skill sets, you can develop a solution that way through the mentorship of our water issue leaders and our team more broadly. Some examples of finalist teams who became successful startups who didn't have a solution prior to registering, for example, Clean Nature, Can Forecast, Typhoco, and Naughty Metrics. We also do accept existing startups or research projects. We ask that those startups have had no revenue up until now. They're under 2 years old, and they're at a tech readiness level of 0 to 3. And we do accept applied research projects, but no professors or research supervisors are allowed to be a part of the team. That being said, if you are a research group and you have, say, a supervisor, they can weigh in on the validity of the technology. They just can't be a part of the team. They can't be a part of the pitch, for example, and they can't come to the expedition, that kind of thing. So there are some examples of existing startups and research-based startup projects on the right there. We had a few, some of them actually from the Great Lakes 2024 challenge, Mott, EcoTime, Myconaut, etc. So the profile of the participants that we're looking for, we really want a diversity of disciplines and backgrounds, highly motivated by environmental protection and solving water-related issues, or maybe they are inspired to do so with the skills that they have, but they haven't really thought about how to apply their skills into that sector. But they're passionate about innovation. They want to find innovative solutions to environmental or water-related challenges. They must have the ability and the willingness to work in a multidisciplinary team, collaborating with others to develop those solutions. And we also look for people who have an interest in entrepreneurship and startup development, who really have a desire to launch their businesses, launch their projects into viable businesses. Some information about the teams. You can be alone on your team, but it is recommended to have two or more multidisciplinary people on your team because that experience, the valued experience is really important. The varied experience is very important. There's no max for the team member number, but just something to keep in mind if you have a lot of team members, it gets a little bit difficult in terms of logistics. I'm sure some of you have worked on projects with big numbers of team members before, and it's complicated. All of the team members have to be registered to the challenge. And as I mentioned, we'll have some team building sessions on February 25th and March 25th. But you can also use the registration platform to recruit team members because you'll fill out your profile. Everybody fills out their profile. They put their educational background and their skills, and you can reach out to them directly if you're interested in them joining your team. Some of the prizes include first place $25,000, second place $15,000, and third place $10,000. You also get a trophy, which is really fun. There's a public choice award of $2,500. And as I mentioned before, there is a $1,000 bursary for all of the finalist teams selected after the semifinal. And some of the benefits beyond funding include skill development, practical experience, network opportunities, visibility recognition, career opportunities, launching your own business, accessing resources and new knowledge, having, feeling good about the social and environmental impact of your startup, and then personal development and growth as well. I have some testimonials from alumni on this page. There's a lot more on our website if you're curious on seeing some of their testimonials as well. If there's anyone in this room who's actually interested in supporting our recruitment efforts, there's also a lot of benefits for you as an organization or a company or an institution to have increased visibility and recognition, provide a life-changing opportunity for your students, and have opportunities for research and development and intellectual property and kind of validate research that you're doing in your university in a commercial way, and then have a social and environmental impact. So if you are one of those people in this room who want to help us recruit, you can scan that QR code and access our promotional toolkit, which is really easy to use. You can just copy paste it into a newsletter or an email, social media, and you can share it widely that way. And I can bring the slide back after if there's anyone who wants to mention that they're interested in helping us recruit. So how to participate in AquaHacking? Before April 6th, register online. As I mentioned, it's free. You can build your team, you can invite your friends, your colleagues, or contact other participants on the platform, and you can choose a water issue that inspires you. And then after April 6th, the official launch of the program, you attend the welcome session on April 15th. You'll access the online curriculum, you'll connect with the mentors, and you'll start developing your solution and preparing for the semifinal pitch competition. Some rules: you must be 18 years or older, reside in Canada or the US. You must be registered in the challenge. You must have a team, so one team, one water-related problem, one solution. And as I mentioned, you can have one team member on your team, that's fine too. You are responsible for meeting and participating in meetings and follow-ups with mentors and all of the different resource people that we are connecting you with. And it is mandatory. It's really helpful for you ultimately. And the expedition, once you're a finalist, it's mandatory for maximum 2 members per team. And as I mentioned before, the travel expenses are covered. We also don't accept finalist teams from previous AquaHacking challenges. Just so you know, they can't come and have a more perfected version of their previous solution. And I don't know if Nick Chang is here in this room. If you are, feel free to speak up. I can't see who's
Yes, you
here.
can
Oh,
raise your
you're
hand.
here.
Oh, here's, I will
There you are.
unmute.
Okay,
I will
perfect.
mute him. Oh, sorry, where did he go?
Hi, Nick.
1 second. Can you
Mhm.
raise your hand again, Nick? There we go, sorry.
Sweet. Well, I'd like to invite one of our alumni from AquaHacking from the Great Lakes Challenge in 2024. He was actually in the recap video that I shared with you, and his team won the People's Choice Award. And yeah, Nick, maybe you can just say a couple words about your experience with AquaHacking and what you're working on today.
Did allow the camera
Yeah.
and the mic. Nick, can you hear us? There you go.
Yes,
There
I can. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about it because I absolutely adore AquaAction and everything you do. It's probably one of the best hackathon type of things that I've ever been a part of. And I'm from Waterloo, so like we do tons of those. So that's saying something. Yeah, it's a great group of people who have your best interest at heart for sure. And water is such an important thing. So sometimes people will think, business and will think, okay, well, how much can I share? How much, should I, how much should I actually say? But the AquaAction team and frankly, the whole Aqua Nation, some of the most kind, forward-thinking, and just receptive people I've ever met, who can actually help you get where you need to go by bringing in other people who you need to talk to make your solution trialed in either the field or in the lab or whatever. There's so many different teams I've met. I'm still pretty good friends with quite a lot of the people who went on the expedition today. You will not regret joining this, and I do recommend you put your best foot forward because it's a lot of fun, and yeah, you're just gonna get so much value out of it. As for what we're doing now, we recently basically been for context, we went into the aqua hacking competition with a sensing technology using carbon quantum dots for lead detection, and that was mainly focused at municipal water sources because aging infrastructure leaches things like lead, and that's a problem for a lot of folks. So testing is a good way to raise awareness and bring it to the top of people's mind. We've since pivoted to not just treatment, but also not just detection, but also water treatment. And in Canada, where I'm from, we have a beautiful province called Alberta, and there is so much vast natural beauty and resources. And one of the pride and joy of the province, I should say, is the oil sands up in Fort McMurray area. And it's such a strategic resource for us Canadians, and we're very proud of it. The best thing we do is actually how we steward it. So it's a learning industry, and there's growth all the time, and there's a lot of challenges with water, mostly due to things from ages past, and not really having the 50 years, 100 years future in mind. So it's very much a industry where there's a lot of legacy infrastructure that's hard to disrupt and hard to integrate into, but it's possible, and we're kind of working on solutions related to treating the water there to make it clean and to stabilize the earth so that it doesn't collapse in the event of floods or rainstorms and things like that. So it's not just what started as a water solution actually transitioned into more of a complete environmental solution as we've gone there and talked to operators and have been part of that conversation. But the most important thing that I think I gained from this aqua hacking challenge was the ability to put myself out there more and do things and talk to people, which really does give you the most insight as to why your problem is a problem in the first place. Sometimes you'll find that the problem, it's not necessarily a technical thing. You might have a tech solution, but the problem itself comes from maybe policy or maybe regulations. And oftentimes that's not really something you can solve with technical solution alone, but you will find that in trying to develop your solutions, you will talk to the right people who are involved in the problem and who can actually give you some insight as to why it's still a problem or what could possibly change that might make your solution even more viable. At the end of the day, everyone's a human being, and we all want a clean environment to live. So I think that AquaAction does one of the best jobs I've seen in bringing people of diverse backgrounds and skill sets together and having them kind of connect over the expedition and be part of a little bit of a nice tight-knit group, followed by later on follow-ups. No matter what you do, if you decide to continue and pursue more entrepreneurship and take your solution to the next level, or whether or not you decide to pivot and maybe join a company that's already working on a problem and just be part of the solution that way. So I think exposure is key, and AquaAction has no shortage of exposure. Yeah, that was sort of my experience, and I feel like it was a really good formative part of my university era learning. Yeah, I'm happy to take any questions if anyone's curious about what the experience was like from a more candid perspective. But yeah, I'm here for you.
Wow, thank you so much, Nick. That was awesome. And yeah, his startup is called Evolve Biotech. And yeah, as I mentioned, he was in the AquaHacking Great Lakes Challenge 2024. I don't know, yeah, maybe there is some questions. We're heading close to the Q&A portion of this info session. So if there's any questions for Nick specifically, you're welcome to join in now. I do have one more slide. Nick, are you going to be able to stay with us for the next few minutes?
Yeah, 100%. You have me until 1 p.m.
Okay, fabulous. So then just going over some frequently asked questions in case these were your questions. What's the cost? Well, it's free and we pay for travel in phase 2, as I mentioned. How much time is needed to dedicate to this challenge? We say approximately 3 to 5 hours a week. Many participants are full-time students, researchers, and professionals. Those hours might usually do increase in phase 2 once you're a finalist, because there's a lot of there's some homework involved in terms of validating your market, doing client discovery calls, coming to the expedition, so some travel involved. And maybe we can hear from Nick about his experience in terms of time management as he was a full-time student. And what do we mean by launch your startup? You can choose the legal structure of your startup. You can do a nonprofit organization, a social enterprise, or you can incorporate your company. But regardless of the structure, you do need to develop a solid business plan to ensure its sustainability. And that really is the goal of AquaHacking. Is, the reason why it's a 7-month-long program and why we call it a program, it's not just a competition, is that we don't really want just the hackathon format of coming up with the great ideas. We want the great ideas plus the business skills and the entrepreneurship mindset in order to make sure that those solutions are sustainable and have legs. And what happens after the challenge? There is startup funding, certification, there's legal support. We have legal partners that give us banks of hours. So for our finalist teams, they will give consultation hours, which is really helpful, especially if you have questions about intellectual property, incorporation, client acquisition, that kind of thing, contracts, drafting. There's incubation for all of our finalist teams. And then tech and business development through coaching, mentoring, workshops. We'll have, regional activities, trade missions sometimes, networking events, that kind of thing. And there's also potential to integrate into Aqua Entrepreneur to carry out those pilot projects and commercialize, as well as Aqua Nation, as Nick mentioned, which helps increase visibility, gives networking opportunities, tools, development, business and funding opportunities as well. So thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you have some questions for me and for Nick. I'm happy to open up the floor now for the Q&A portion, and you can just scan the QR code on the screen there for the registration page. And if you have any questions, you can contact AquaHacking at aquaaction.org. I'm also happy to put my own email in the chat so that you can contact me directly if you have questions about programming, content, any of that stuff. I'm here for that.
That was a great presentation. Thank you very much, Kenza. For those who are asking questions, please use the chat function. The Q&A function, despite it being toggled on, is not activating. And I tried to toggle on and off, and it's not activating. So just use the chat function or raise your hand, and I can unmute you. But let's go through the question. There's a number of questions in the chat, and I just want to start with the first one that I saw that came in a little bit ago. and the question is from Ankita Sharma, and it says, I am part of the software engineering principal. Am I eligible to join? Now, I have to say, I don't know what the software engineering principal is, but perhaps that means something to you, Kenza.
I don't know what that is either. Is it a research group or is it an existing startup lab?
Ankita, if you're still on the call, we're happy to unmute you if you raise your hand, and you can clarify your question. If not, you can also clarify your question in the chat again. Let's move on to the next question.
Ankita has a hand raised.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yeah, let me unmute you. I've unmuted you. You should be able to speak, Ankita.
Hi guys, sorry, I was just confused at first thinking that because this is a water solution, only maybe mechanical or chemical engineers are allowed. So I was just asking because I am pursuing software engineering. So am I also allowed to just participate?
Yeah, of course. It's an open registration process, and as I mentioned, we really look for a diversity of people with diverse backgrounds, educational and training backgrounds. And the reason why is so that you can form interdisciplinary teams, because you might be working with mechanical engineers or, developing a specific solution that, say, is like a hardware solution or a tech or a biotech solution, but actually you might need software engineering as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for anyone to join. We've had people from your background, we've had people from communications and marketing backgrounds, we've had people from engineering with special training in wastewater treatment, but we've also had environmental students or environmental studies students, people from humanities as well. So it's diverse.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Ankita. The next question comes from Kevin George Kelly, who says, our startup has existed for more than 2 years, but we have just pivoted to water in 2025. Our tech is also TRL4. Are we eligible?
I would say you're not eligible for AquaHacking. That being said, you are eligible for AquaNation or Aqua Entrepreneur. Are you incorporated already? Maybe you can just write in the chat. I'm happy to continue that conversation with you, Kevin. You can reach out to me here. I'll write my email here. I can connect you with my colleagues in our different programs because they'll be able to answer your questions. I will say that Aqua Entrepreneur, our program, which is for startups that are ready to commercialize, looking to commercialize, getting pilots and contracts. They are currently recruitment is open in March, so it's coming up really shortly. So it might be really good timing for you.
All right, let's look for the next question. Omar Kamel said that he joined a little bit late. Would it be okay to go over the application process quickly? Alternatively, I just saw this being recorded. Can I find the recording? Omar, I will share the recording. We're going to be posting this on YouTube as well. I can share that recording with you. And of course, you can email AquaAction directly as well. Kenza just put her email in the chat, so you can ask any further questions there. Let's see. Then the next question comes from Sienna Anderson, and she says, are teams created using students from the same university, or is it a mixture?
It's a mix, but also you can create a team with your fellow students from your program or from your university. Sometimes it's nice, we're recruiting in a bunch of different universities. So if there's enough students from your university and it's helpful to meet in person, and do your work together, I think that's a huge advantage if you have a team that's all from one university. But we're going to have students from all over, and some of them are even going to be Canada and US teams. So that might be really interesting for some of the teams. So it's open, but it's going to be up to you. You can kind of organize yourself and recruit your fellow students, your classmates, or your research associates.
Great. Next question comes from Elaf Saif. If I have an idea, but I am missing the data to test and verify it, will the program help in this? In other words, do you provide collaboration with industry partners to support idea verification?
Yeah, we do. That's part of our mentorship process. So in phase 1, you work with our mentors, that we call water issue leaders. Those are industry professionals. Some of them are professors, some of them are researchers, others might work for companies specifically. And their goal is to really provide you the framework of understanding of the issue so that you can apply your solution to it or pivot your solution to it, validate your solution and see what's on the market. And if they can't answer your questions directly, they can connect you with different people in their contact list and in their network. And if you are selected as a finalist, then you go through a business plan development and a market validation process. We do client discovery calls where you call potential end users to validate the need of that solution. So I would say there's a lot of that idea verification, idea validation that is provided through the program.
Great. And then a follow-up question from Omar. I graduate from chemical engineering in a few months. Would I still be able to join or have somebody on my team as a graduate, or is it restricted to just university students?
No, it's open. It's open to young professionals as well as students. And I say young, I mean our participant profiles are 18 to 35 usually. Sometimes we have some folks who are a little bit older who have just been working or they're doing their postdoc. So you're welcome to join at any point of your student or professional career.
Great. Thank you, Kenza. That concludes all the questions that were in the chat. If there are any more questions, we're still around. We'll stick around.
Were there any questions for Nick specifically? I would be curious to hear actually from Nick about his experience with that time management piece as a student and, you know, what that looked like for him.
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually, I'll just preface that by saying I was a master's student at the time. So research-based master's, so it's not so much so that there's a lot of courses, but it's just a lot of time management with respect to in the lab doing other experiments. And my master's research is not wasn't in the same field as what I was applying with. So it was a bit of a challenge to manage time, but I found that it was totally doable because I treated it mostly as, you know, no expectations, just wanted to have fun and see what I can learn and just use the time as a sort of way to block off some time so that I could just study this, what to me was pretty new application of what I've already known. And thought, you know, okay, I'll block off a couple hours a week, spend some time doing that, and then I can really manage the time effectively that way. And I did, and it was great. So it's totally doable. It's just you just don't have to treat it like it's like an obligation. It's absolutely just, you know, up to you how serious you take it. But I found that if you're coming into it with you know, a dedicated time to, you know, sit down, okay, 3 p.m. I'm going to sit down till 4:30 and I'm only going to think about this, then it's easier to compartmentalize when you're doing like full-time schooling and things like that. So that's one strategy that I used.
Thanks for sharing, Nick. Were there any other questions from the group for Nick specifically, for an alumni of our program?
You're also welcome to raise your hand and I can unmute you if you prefer to speak your question out loud. If not, you can place it in the chat.
What surprised you about the program, Nick?
Well, I was really surprised on how well fleshed out it was and how thorough AquaAction really was in the whole experience. From just like setting up the meetings timing to the portal which we were on, which they shared the resources. It was all very well structured and very easy to follow. And the expedition itself, you know, they took care of everything. So it's not something that you have to worry about. A lot of things. Well, I'm coming from Canada, so maybe it wasn't as bad for us visa-wise, but I know some people were coming from out of country, so that's a consideration as well. But the team's great; like they'll take care of you. So as long as you're just focused on your solution and trying to learn more about it, then yeah, AquaAction reduces a lot of barriers along the way, and I think that's what surprised me most, because most hackathons and most things that I've been part of that are solution problem oriented, they don't have as vigorous of a support team, and it's also a nice surprise well, at this point, I was sort of expecting, you know, great things. But the team is just has such a good follow-up and a lead on afterwards. You know, after AquaHacking is finished for the session, then what happens after? Where do these people go? What do they do? But they're sometimes talking to me, you know, sending me emails now and again and keeping in touch. And I think that's something that I find really is valuable for the community, because you don't normally get that with events. And that's why I think it's more of a get to know people here, and you're not going to be competing with anyone here. Well, you'll be competing for the prizes, but you're not competitors. You're allies, and we're all trying to solve water in our own way or different aspects of it. So get friendly with the people who are on this call and who are going to be in the expedition, because it's that's what we are at the end of the day. You know, we're all just trying to do that, and I think it's a different thing from most competition style things. So I wouldn't even call it a competition. I think Sula had some good words about that one time. I can't quote it directly, but that's what really made me think, wow, this is more than just another pitch thing, more than just another competition. It's just a lot of learning. So be open to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. We call it a program, but it is a competition kind of, or it's a program, it's an innovation journey that sort of masquerades as a competition. And we have a lot of resources that we throw into the program. And as Nick mentioned, the accompaniment after the program is really what we call that continuum of innovation. That's like, it is what differentiates AquaAction from other kinds of startup accompaniment, organizations. So that's our goal, really, is not to let you go after you are done the program. We don't want you to disappear. We want you to keep working on your solution. And we want to partner you with different startups. Sometimes we recently had some pilot projects with 2 startups that we had complementary solutions that were able to complete each other and have a pilot and a contract with a municipality. So that was really exciting. And so those possibilities are kind of endless with the matchmaking and the connections with other startups and companies, municipalities. And every year our reach is growing. We do a lot of events, we do a lot of outreach, we do a lot of partnership building. And so this Great Lakes St. Lawrence program, which is our biggest one yet, is really indicative of that, and how many resources and partners and allies we have across the region that are there to support you in developing your solution, and ultimately want your solution so that we can collaborate on making sure that the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence area remains healthy through all of these climate changes.
Well, we'll give everybody maybe another minute to see if there's any final questions for either Kenza or Nick. If you have any final questions as we near the end of the session, please place those in the chat or raise your hand.
I also shared some links in the chat. I shared the program website, so you can read a little bit more information from there, the registration page, as well as the promotional toolkit for those who want to help spread the word. I should mention also with recruitment, if you are a student and you think it would be helpful to host an info session or promote an info session in your school, we can also help support you with that. I can do a custom info session like this one, a co-hosted info session, or you can join one of our existing info sessions.
That's great, Kenza. It looks like that might be it. So thank you very much for being here, for your great presentation. And special thanks also to Nick for being here and sharing his experience with the program. I think it was highly successful. People really enjoyed it. And again, get in touch with Kenza if you have any other further questions. And wishing you all the best of luck with those who plan on applying. We really encourage you to do so. And again, thank you for the great session, Kenza. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Nick, for providing your amazing testimonial. That was awesome. I loved it.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.